Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Vobes show with me, Richard Vobes. It's the 18th of May, 2020. It's a Monday, it's the evening, it's 8 o'clock, and I'm in my back room, and you're somewhere else. And it's very nice to see you. Hello, how you doing? Welcome to the Vobosphere. And out there, floating about in goodness knows where, we have a whole load of wonderful people who have been waiting, clawing at the door. Let me in! Let me in! Start the show. And the show has indeed started. We've got the lovely Julia out there, which is lovely to see. Thank you very much, lovely Julia. We were hoping to have the lovely Julia on the show again tonight, but... well, you know, things are a bit rough, but so maybe tomorrow. Mark Donny McLeod is there. What ho? Steve G. What ho? Which is grand. Ed Loud, good evening all. Ron Langley has joined us. Days of Yore. Jean. What? No, wait, start again. Jen's Allotment Adventures is there. Finally managed to catch a live show. You're very, very welcome. Thank you very much for coming along. Nice to see you. Nice. Good game. All right, my love, let's look at the old floorboard. Anyway, Ernie, tally-ho, Richard, it's going to be a sunny week. That's good. Although I've been out filming, and for continuity purposes, I have to keep wearing a jumper. Talking of jumpers, I'm supposed to be wearing a jumper, but a different jumper. Yes, we'll get to that in the show. Let me just write that down. Jumper. Yeah, anyway, more of that later. And, yeah, it's hot. And by the time I get to sort of around midday, I'm going, ugh. I need to take the jumper off, but I'm not allowed to take the jumper off. The continuity girls, you know what they're like. They say, oh, no, you can't take it off because that's not continuity. Makes out I work with a great big team, but they're all inside my head. These little voices, you know, the voices that talk. Dreadful things. Anyway, nice to see you. Jen and Ernie. I think it was Ernie who set me off on that one. Mark Donny McLeod says, I think you can get treatment for that. Oh, marvellous. Paul Smith, good evening to you. Mark G, hello, how are you? By the way, did you all miss me over the weekend? I took some time out. Not really. Time out? Not really. Andrew Norris is there. Hello, Andrew. Adrian is out there from Turbo Stream, which is superb. Linda Kane, hello to you. Nice to see you. Gentle Lotman says, I have a question, Richard. Have you been to Wilmington and have you walked the Long Man? Oh, yes. Yes, the Wilmington Long Man. If you go to YouTube, put Vobes, put Wilmington Long Man or any of that nonsense into YouTube, bing, you'll get a number of, a couple of things should come up because I've done a couple over there. Also to the Long Man Brewery, been interviewed them, done some stuff with them. Ed Loud says, was hoping to get a 2-part video in for today's show. Alas, it stopped halfway through. Never mind. Always tomorrow. Always tomorrow. Josephine Suter is there. Hello. Hello, Josephine. Got a video from you. Also got a video from Ernie. Lee Roberts, hello to you. How are you, Lee? The Veg Grower Podcast. Hello, Veg Grower Podcast, who has recovered, by the way. Thanks to all the people from my lot that went over to his lot to help him out during the 24-hour. Apparently, Richard and Lee on their Veg Grower Pod 24-hour thing earned about 600 quid for charity. So congratulations to you. Brilliant stuff. And having watched you guys manage to do the 24 hours and all the rest of it, I thought to myself, hey, there's something I'm not going to do. 24 hours talking away, going, and the other thing was, what was his name? I can't remember. No, not for me. Hour and a half is quite sufficient, thank you. Wilf Meyer says, hello, Wilf, we got a video. Andrew Murphy, hello to you. Hope you've been out doing another moment of Murphy, which would be good. And we got Lee Roberts. You look refreshed. Thank you. I don't know why I look refreshed, because I ain't really stopped. Cynthia Walder is there. Hello. I will look. I couldn't find it, but I may have spelt it wrong. Oh. Scratch his head. Yes, if you put the Long Man of Wilmington in, probably if you just put the Long Man of Wilmington into YouTube, I'm bound to come up. Arrow, says Michael Angel from Arrow. Are you from Arrow on the Hill? I used to live in Arrow on the Hill. I used to, well, not actually on the hill. I was down in Harrow at the foot of the hill in Butler Road. Oh, God, yeah, I remember that. Long time ago now. I was in London when I was trying to get a career going up there. Roy Ballinger says, good evening. Veg Grower says, I can call it once the phone line is open. Oh, he says, I'll call in once the phone line is open. He's bitten by the bug now, isn't he? Which is great. Glastonbury, good evening. I've got your last part 6. We've got part 6 to come. Ed Loud, he's retracted. And Kevin Trebles, highly great effort. He says, highly great effort on the 24-hour raising charity. And if you've ever raised a charity up, it's, you need big muscles to raise charity. Popeye used to use the spinach. And olive oil, used to douse herself over with some olive oil, and then what they did in cartoon bedrooms is anybody's guess, I suppose. Lee Roberts says 90 minutes pure gold. What, my 90? Ha! That I doubt. Julia says, hello to the latest arrivals. Come walk with me. Robert Croser, I'll call in once the line is open. And Kevin says, Robert, call in now. Oh, the line's not, I haven't switched the phone on yet. Just hold your horses. And I'm glad Kevin's there, because Kevin has sent something into the old Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi, and I will have to make a swift run round the back to get it. We've got a story connected with that we'll tell you about. Ed Loud says, if Richard Suggett of the Veg Grower podcast, is there any other Richard Suggett? I'm sure if you put Richard Suggett into Google or any other search engine, because there are other search engines, not sure whether they work these days, but there's a nice ecology one, isn't there? I forget what it's called now. That seems to be a nice one. Alternatives to the big corporations. But anyway, if you put another Richard Suggett in there, I am sure that only Richard Suggett of the Veg Grower podcast comes up. Anyway, he says, as he's seen Richard suggest of Hedge Blower's Plotcast, says Ed Loud, he would have kicked me out of his love stream. I say, I didn't know you had a love stream. Glastonbury says, Jesus went to Mount Olive, so Popeye hit him. Well, I'm not surprised. Andrew Norris, I walked straight into that one. Yeah, thanks for that. Let's all call in, says Andrew Norris. Yes, it's like you haven't had the fun over the last weekend to call in. I suppose you've just been calling up your mums and dads and going, hello mum, are you live? Are you? Oh no, sorry, different person. Who knows? Robert Crosser, Godhead suggest, yes. Oh, yes, Ecosia, says Andrew Murphy. Ecosia. Sounds very cosy, doesn't it? It's cosy, you slimping slam slappard. Little quote there from a very popular 90s children's television programme, of which I have a very small connection with. Anyway, wrong. There's a Richard Suggett who's an author, says the Veg Grower podcaster. What does he write? What does the other Richard... I've got to go and check now. I've got to go and have a quick gander. Let's just stick that in. If I go to Google, right, Richard Suggett, and I put Richard Suggett, let's see what... Welsh Witches. That's what was suggested. Richard Suggett books, Welsh Witches. Oh, Richard Suggett is a historian, currently senior investigator at the Royal Commission of Ancient and Historical Monuments of Wales, an honorary fellow of the University of Wales, Centre for Advanced Welsh and Celtic Studies. He started his podcast about gardening and allotments in 1901 and is very annoyed that there's another bloke in Littlehampton who has started to do the same sort of thing. However, he hasn't done a 24-hour fundraiser for 3 charities connected with gardening and allotments, so I am very upset. Boo-hoo-hoo, says the Welsh writer. Well, you can't win them all. You must be the only English Richard Suggett who's got a podcast and that sort of thing. Wait, I'm going right down here to see how many pages we have to go to before we get... The veg, there's 2 pages gone. Wait, Welsh witches. Yeah, I wish I hadn't started that now. Anyway, talking about nice things, whiskers and kittens, or even whiskers on the kittens, I think is quite good. Let's start with a video, then we'll open the phone lines and see who is actually out there brave enough to call the Vobie one-eyed Kenobi on the Shobi tonighty. Don't wear your nightie if at all possible. Let's go to the video box. Well, that was funny. The video box is obviously switched off at the moment. Hang on, let's switch it back on again. There we go. Now, I think we should start with Gabriel because he's had a six-parter. He's been following the Millstream, and this is the last of the Millstreams, and it's all quite energetic, and it all comes to an abrupt end, and we find out, finally, where this dreaded stream that we've all come to know intimately and walked every inch of comes out. And we're all fascinated to see where it comes. Over to you, Gabriel from Glastonbury.
I've now come a further mile down the Millstream, and I'm in completely open country, with the stream running to my left and the inquisitive cows to my right. Hello. So here we are, almost at journey's end. To my left here, you can see the stream coming in from Glastonbury. This, somehow, I've got to get through. Appear to have a derelict house here. What a waste. What a beautiful place to have a house. Oh well, onwards and upwards.
Just another 100 yards and we will reach journey's end. And here we are. The Millstream is entering on the left there through those trees. I can't get a better view due to an electric fence here, so I'm going to cross to that bridge and show you. Okay, so we're now on the bridge looking back at where I just stood. From here we can now clearly see the Millstream running in over there. And there's the River Brew coming in from the right under the bridge to join the stream before heading off northwest away from the town. This view is looking back down the Brew with the Millstream behind me. Over there is Weirhill Hill. We started our journey on the other side of that. We then travelled round the edge of the hill to Northload and the mill before moving on past the old factories of the sheep industry, through Glastonbury, and then we followed this road all the way here on the left bank. And there goes the River Brew on its way to Highbridge, the Severn Estuary and the sea.
We've come the full 2.3 miles. And hopefully you've seen something of interest to you. The industrial archaeology, the industrial buildings, the Bauhaus building, and many other things we've seen along the way. So, as I say, hopefully you'll join me on the next video I do. But in the meantime, I've been Glastonbury Gabriel, you've been watching. Thank you very much and good night. Bye.
How about that then, eh? How about that? All that snazzy camera work. Woo-hoo! Woo! That's clever stuff, isn't it? How do they do that? How does that? That's one of those 360 cameras, isn't it? On a stick where you can do all of that fancy footwork and make the cows revolve around you and stuff. Yeah, I was I was interested to see the cows following Gabriel. I think I would have been filling my panties with cow pat juice with them that close. The other day I was out filming with these English, whatever they were, English cows, English breed of cows, with the horns, English longhorns, were they? And they were a bit scary. But I did get as close as I could. So, yeah, that was all right. So, well done. Thank you very much, Gabriel. Look forward to the next mini-series, whatever that's going to be, which will be great. Let's just go and have a quick look at some of the comments. Robert Croesus says, mine already a Kevin. Not sure what he means by that. And what do we got here? Joachim Creward Music says, see, I'm not very good at reading strange names. Nice, Gabriel, says Ernie. Linda Kane says, upper, lower. Again, not sure what you mean. Mystic Hair says Richard should do this fancy camera work next time he's on his bike. Oh yeah, there we go. I haven't actually got one of those 360-degree cameras, but that's okay. I have enough issues just having a camera on a tripod at the moment. So don't worry about that. Nice bit of camera work, GG. Thanks, says John Richardson. Nice to see you out there, John Richardson. And Beading Steve says Upper Beading, near to where Richard was last week. Oh, is that where you're from, Beading Steve? Nice to see you out there. Thanks for joining us. Ed Loud says, well done. Beach Writer says, oh, those poplar trees in the background of the video. That was nice. Ray Ballinger says, well done. Days of Yours says, well done. Linda Kane says, nice jumper. Oh, yes, jumper. Yes, I ran out. Changed the jumper. Now, of course, let me just let you know that the phone lines are now open in case anyone should wish to call in. Yeah, this jumper was donated by Monsieur Le Kevin. He was having a bit of a spring clean, and he's gone through some of the clothes that he doesn't like, some of the threadbare stuff that he's, walked around the universe with. And he thought, I would quite fancy this. That may not be the truth, by the way, but let's find out who's calling the Vobe. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Suggett.
Hello.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. And yourself?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for calling. Well, that was Mr. Suggett, and that. Oh, sorry, you're still there.
Oh dear, oh dear. You never get any less boring, do you?
No, thank you very much. Never get any less
You're welcome.
sensible, I think is the word you were looking for. More sensible.
Well,
yeah.
I
No.
was trying to be a bit more polite than that.
Oh, all right, fair enough. So how are you? What have you been up to? Been out doing anything? Have any late nights recently?
Oh, I had one the other night. I was up all night.
Oh, what, people kept ringing
me
you?
all night long.
Oh, it's annoying that, isn't it? I get that. I turn my phone off about 9:30.
Oh no, I couldn't do that for some reason. It just was constantly going.
Did it take you 24 hours to find where the off button was?
It did.
Yeah,
it did.
that
Exactly that.
Exactly that. But at least you had a mate to talk to. Did you phone a friend or something, or Skype somebody?
I had somebody on Skype, some skinny Jean Gardner person.
Oh, well, that's all right. And you raise money. That's the thing. You raise money for charity, which is what you set out to do.
Yes. We've raised over £600 that we know of on the Facebook donation side of things. But we also know people have donated via the charity's website, so the figure could actually be even higher than that.
Ah,
unfortunately,
marvellous.
can't find that out.
That's really good news. So what's the next thing?
Well, we've been discussing that today. I don't want to say anything just yet because we've got a year to get it planned and finalised, but we're going to do it again next year. Something
challenge.
Similar. Another challenge. We're going to take it up a level.
Oh, right. Okay. 1 year. 1 year live.
Yeah.
Non-stop.
See if we can try and earn a bit more money for the charities as well.
What you
the
should do, of course,
important
what you should have done, really, if you've got your act together properly, is actually, I mean, of course, difficult with the COVID thing at the moment, but what you could have done is done it actually from an allotment.
Yes. I've got to get together and build a system that could actually be mobile, a bit like your.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could
method.
set it up in your allotment and you could be there all night, make it, and you could have the little fire going and you could have, at night time, no one's going to notice, got a brazier going and you could be, cooking on it. You could be harvesting. You could actually do stuff on the allotment, put some cameras.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be the ideas man behind your next project, but if you don't do it, somebody else will. Yeah, that would be really cool. And then people could phone in. Not only that, people could actually turn up and do some digging for you.
Well, that would be good.
And then you could sponsor, they could be sponsored to dig a square of allotment stuff or to plant or to weed or to something. Then you come back later on in the night, 6 hours later, and you say, Richard, how are you doing down there? And I'm going, yeah, I've nearly got all the stones out. Nearly. Yeah. You say, come on, work harder. There's £400 on you to complete this, taking the stones out of the ground with your teeth. Now, get on with it.
That's a good idea. I'm writing that down.
No, I know. All my good ideas go to everybody else because I'm very good at thinking of ideas for other people. I'm not so good for thinking them for myself. It's very irritating. But never mind.
Ooh. That's because you give all your good ideas away.
Never mind. Not to worry. I gave you some ideas on the show, didn't I, about a gardening programme that you were going to do?
Yes, you did, yes.
Yeah, you forgot that, didn't you? You were half asleep. I know. I rang you up at 4 a.m, or 5:30, I think it was. And you were like, yeah, that's a good idea. I don't know why we did. What?
So many ideas, didn't you?
I know. I'm good at ideas. Very good at ideas.
Yeah, you came up. I can't remember how many ideas it was. It must have been about 20 different
Absolutely.
ideas.
Yeah, I know. I'm losing. I should keep my mouth shut, really. But they're no good to me because I'm not doing those ideas. I'd rather you did them.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a hypothetical TV show we were putting together. I mean, before that, we were designing the garden centre. That was quite an interesting conversation. So, in the wee hours of the morning.
Yeah, well, that would be, exactly. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said at all. I was just reading, I wish I had £300 to spend on fancy cameras. Says, come walk with me. And Jen's allotment says, go for it, Richard Suggett, go for it.
Go for it. Well, keep your ear to the ground. We'll let you know as soon as we can.
One moment, just bear with me. Just getting my ear to the ground. Hold on. Actually, I've just looked at the carpet in here. I need to hoover in here. First job tomorrow is to hoover the carpet. It's been a bit of a mess recently. Anyway, did you have a thing that you were ringing up or just chatting about your successes and just nicking more of the ideas that I can come up fishing again, are you? Is that what it was?
Oh, well, yeah, I was fishing again and nicking some more of your ideas. But I also wanted to ring you up and thank you for publicising the 24-hour live I did.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure.
Some of your viewers along and what have you. So it was really appreciated.
No, that's no problem. They're as good as gold. I have them very well trained, you know.
Yes.
Get down. For goodness sake. Sorry, some of them are a bit, they get excited.
Well, Eric is
Eric's the worst. Eric, I don't know where he is at the moment. I think he's escaped. He's been burrowing. That's why there's so much muck on the floor. I think it's all the stuff out of the cellar coming up. And a lot of his strange hair. Anyway, well done, and keep up the good work. People can find you, if they haven't been to you before, at the Veg Grower Podcast. Put that into a search engine. Don't put Richard Suggett in, because you'll get Welsh books and stuff.
Welsh books, yes.
But, you have to get your, what is it they call the meta tags all sorted?
Yeah, well, I don't use my surname. That's why it doesn't come up as that.
Oh, well, what do you put then? Just Richard?
Richard, that's from Veg Grower Podcast.
Oh, well, that's all right then. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for ringing, Richard, from the Veg Grower Podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. And you take care and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, see you soon. Take care and look forward to your next video and adventure.
Yep, it's just in the edit at the moment, funnily enough.
Superb. All right, Squire. Bye-bye for now.
Okay. Cheers.
Bye. There we are. That was the lovely Richard Suggett. You don't need to know his surname, apparently. Just Veg Grower Podcast. That's all you need to put in there. And yeah, they'll be in the. They'll be nicking more of my ideas. I'll come up with some more. But that would be good, wouldn't it? A sponsored thing, fundraiser from there all night long. It would be great. What will make it even greater, of course, if it was to piss with rain on the day they do it. And they actually have to sit there in deck chairs in the soaking wet. Then that would get the ante up there. That would, and then hail would be good. And then it would be that bloody Vobes, I'll have him, I'll get you. I'll have you, Butler, I'll get you, Butler. On the buses, little reference there for those that don't know. Anyway, let's play another video, a crack on in. Let's see if it's working this time. Oh, lovely. Now, Josephine, not tonight, Josephine, but no, it is tonight, Josephine. Josephine has been out and about in up near Stenning, in a place where I went actually a couple of weeks ago. And it's interesting because there's this person, I couldn't work out whether it's a man or a woman, you'll see, with blue hair lying on the hill. You'll see this. And I know how these filming techniques go. And I was just wondering what this person on the blue must have thought as Josephine was walking up and down the hill. Must have gone, "Aye, what's this one up to? What are you up to?" To us, of course, watching, it looks absolutely natural. But I know what goes on behind the scenes. Anyway, Josephine. And by the way, at the very beginning of this, you're walking down a street, Josephine, where my mum used to live. Yeah, and I used to have to go over there about 3 or 4 times a week to pick her up off the floor or to help her or to break in because she'd lost her key because she'd been on the you-know-what. But anyway, lovely little, humble little cottages. Let's have a look. Josephine, take it away.
We're going into the park here, through the back. All these terrace houses that we just passed, all their back gardens here. A lovely field at the back which can never be developed on. Beautiful view of the downs behind them. That view from your back garden. You can actually get to the downs from this green area. There is a path that takes you straight up to the downs, which we're going to do. Firstly, going past Stenning Community Orchard there, and some allotments behind. So we're climbing the track to the downs now. Quite steep incline all the way up. I've noticed there's lots of people out today. Suddenly everyone's out. One incentive is I've got a cup of tea that I made earlier for us when we get to the top. You can see a bench right at the top in the distance, which we're going to go to. And that's where we've just come from. So see you up there. Okay, so we've reached the top, slightly out of breath. It's quite a high, steep hill, but the view is magnificent. You see those cottages in the green that we were at on the way here? That is them there, and that's the green that we came from in the distance. Beautiful views of the South Downs on a fine day in Stenning.
Because that person may have been wearing a hat. I'm not too sure about that. But yeah, no, interesting. Well done. I loved it because it reminded me when I stroll up that hill. Did you see the Poet's box on the side? When I went there, I looked in the Poet's box, and then somebody put on my video, they said, "Oh, you shouldn't have touched the Poet's box. That's one way of getting coronavirus." But I'd gone up there at about 7 in the morning. The sun was shining, and if anyone had been on that box, the chances are that any sort of corona that was lying around would have obviously crawled off and got into the trees. But anyway, well done. Lovely to see that. Fantastic. Yes, Charlton Street. That was the one. My mum used to live at number 33. Just in case you know, if you ever want to visit. She's not there now. She's probably looking down on me and going, "You'll never amount to anything, Richard. You'll never amount to anything." So yeah, so there we go. Anyway, well done on that front. Let's open up the phone line again. Let's see, where is it? There's the phone. Marvellous. Hang on one second. Here we are. Just put the cough button on. So that's all. Kevin Rambles. It's Kevin Rambles. Yes. Paul Smith says, "Is that Madrid?" No, I think that was Stenning. Actually, that was Stenning in West Sussex. Madrid's very similar. We did a show where we looked at Madrid the other night, and I noticed Madrid was full of very green trees and nice, beautiful green slopes and hills and dales and all that sort of stuff. Josephine says, "Thanks a lot, everyone. My mum used to live in Charlton Street, number 1. Oh, how lovely. Very nice. Just near the police station, I assume, then. Yes, well done, says Kevin. Yes, very nice. Ed Loud says, well done. Glastonbury, nice vid, beautiful. Paul Smith says, yes, most entertaining. Evening, says David Chamberlain. Sorry for being late. Nice to see you, David Chamberlain. I hope you are well. Never let any negative echoes from the past burst your joy. I like that. Never let any, what is it you said? Negative echoes from the past burst your joy. No, I think that's quite right, and absolutely 100% should never let that happen. Never, ever, ever. You'll never amount to anything. Shut up. Eric says that sort of stuff to me to do. We have a phone call, ladies and gentlemen. Holy moly, we have a phone call. Let's find out who is calling on the Vobes Show today. Hello, caller.
Hello, Mum. I'm on TV.
Hello, Mum. How are you? Oh, it's
Hello, Richard. It's Ed Loud, of course. How are you?
I am all right, thank you very much, and much happier now that I have heard from you.
Well, before you ask,
yes.
How am I?
Oh, I did ask.
I'm round and squidgy.
Oh, round and squidgy. That's nice.
No, first, let me thank you for obviously letting me know about Richard Suggett. It's been great to see him on your show over the last few months, of course. And I had a great night. I couldn't sleep because I had problems I mentioned earlier in my kitchen. And I stayed up all night and had a great time watching him. So thank you, Richard, for putting me in touch with Richard.
It's my pleasure. Now, just tell us, because we were doing, just for the benefit of the other people who've turned up, I do these readings with a nice book that I've got called Two Englands, and we did have a bit of a fun time reading that today.
Oh, it was brilliant. Yeah,
but at the beginning, why am I holding a pen? At the beginning of the show, I was looking at the comments, and of course I was trying to concentrate on the reading. And then you'd said something about I couldn't do anything because my kitchen ceiling has just collapsed. There was a flood or something. So just tell us the story, Jackanory.
Well, you might remember I mentioned the flickering light in my kitchen. And
no, I don't. I've got a 20-second memory. Sorry, who's calling?
Yeah, well, this flickering light, I didn't think too much of it because it's a very old kitchen light, one of those strip lights. And
oh, yeah. And they do flicker when you turn them on anyway.
Exactly, yeah. So I just thought, when this is over, I'll go and get a new bulb and fit it. But, then someone, who was it? I think it was my brother. If it wasn't my brother, then it must have been the council worker who came to, check the wiring. Somebody said, it might have been the council worker, whoever it was, said that the ceiling was going in a bit and they're not going to touch anything and they're going to contact someone. It looks like there's a leak. Oh. Less than half an hour later, parts of the ceiling started coming down. Nothing structural, but all the plaster or whatever's up there, lumps of it started coming down. And the next thing I know, the council said, you can't go in your kitchen. There could be asbestos. We're going to have to seal it off. Would you like to be moved out of the property temporarily? Oh. And of course I said no, because everything's here. Everything's still structurally sound.
Shame, because they had Buckingham Palace was free, actually.
Yeah, so I heard. But yeah, never mind. Nobody's hurt. I just, unfortunately, had a bit of trouble sort of cooking and things like that because I don't even have a microwave, as you might have noticed from videos in my kitchen. It's very sparse.
Yeah, sparse. So what did you have for dinner then when you eventually got back in there? Plaster and chips, was it? Plaster and chips?
Well, I managed to sort of run over to the shops over the road and grab some beans and a loaf of bread and all that. And I've now got a microwave. So, it's not the end of the world, is it? But it just sort of puts stoppers on my half.
It's Greenwich.
Yeah, it put stoppers on my video, which I was halfway through making, which was sourdough bread. I had my sourdough starter. I started a new starter just to show you guys how to do it.
Yes. So, I would have been fascinated. I must give it a whirl.
But never mind, it's not a complicated process, so I'll just say again to anyone who wants to give it a try, look it up. It's a long process, but very simple, So it's one of those things where, like with your baking bread, you just give it a go, and 5-6 loaves down the line, you'll probably have the knack of it. So never mind, that wasn't really what I called up for. But I just wanted to thank you for sort of, over the last year, I've seen Richard Suggett on your shows and really glad that I tuned into his live stream because it was really quite impressive to go 24 hours, especially for people who are not used to staying up. I mean, I remember years ago before I had to stay up being a carer or, parents and stuff, they have late nights. It's quite impressive to have to do it for a live stream and to stay entertaining and everything, but never mind. Wasn't that last video great, though? I'm going to use that as an example to prove something to my brother, because we were discussing me making videos, and as I've mentioned before, I used to go about it kind of trying to prove to everyone, look how green this is. You can live in the city and still enjoy green spaces. And I think that video just proved what I was doing wrong, because rather than trying to be like everyone else, I've realised that I have to show some of the dirt to show the nice bits.
Yeah. I mean, it's variety is the spice, isn't it? And as you said before, the journey was a good thing too.
Yeah, and I was saying to my brother, it's all well and good me trying to capture the landscape in the woods and over Woolwich Common, but I just can't compete with that, can I? Where you're in a lovely park and your first thought is, oh, this is a nice park, and then you see the view and it goes on for miles, and I mean, it's not even worth trying to imitate that because I've got perhaps other pluses and bonuses to where I live.
That is the key thing, I think, to anything is to not think that you're trying to emulate. I did this for ages. I was trying to make television programs thinking that I was trying to catch up with the BBC, and I ran like blooming mad to try and catch up with the BBC. And then I remember I bought this camera, and it was the nearest to a broadcast camera that I could afford, and it was an entry-level camera which they would use for fly-on-the-wall documentaries. And it was a Sony PD-150. For anybody out there who happens to know by any vague chance any cameras, PD-150 back in the day of DV Cam was very much an entry level. You could just about get away with it for broadcast. Anyway, I saved up and I bought this thing. And I had this thing and I was trying to make programs that I would then pitch to TV and what have you with this camera. And then I suddenly had this sort of epiphany. And I thought, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make something that's not designed for this job do the job. Why don't I look at what the camera's designed to do and make one of those, but put the Vobes spin on it? So what I did was, instead of going, I'm trying to make drama, documentary, whatever it was at the time, more not so much documentary, but drama stuff, with crews of what should have a crew of 30, but with a crew of 1 or 2, I then said, wait, this is a fly-on-the-wall camera. Why don't I make fly-on-the-wall stuff, but give it a bit of, a Vobes spin? And I made this spoof thing, which we've talked about on the show before, called The Sex Detective. We won't dwell on that.
Yeah.
And I took it and I made it. So I took what was, for me, my limitation, and I took that as my advantage. And I think that's what you should be doing yourself. Your limitation is, if you like, you're not in the countryside. Well, that doesn't matter, because the advantage you have is you're not in the countryside. You're in Greenwich with a lot of fine buildings, a lot of not so fine buildings, bits of countryside, and you've got the two that you can play with.
I think you have the comparison as well, because if I was in the Romney Marshes filming right now, it'd be there's a field, there's a field, there's a field, there's a field.
Yes.
Whereas here I've got, hey, look, here's the A2.
Yes.
Isn't it a noisy, monstrous mess? But when I get into this park, your eyes are like, wow, look at that.
Exactly.
Because you've been in a dark room and now you're in a light room.
You must go out and do it.
I've been filming a few of what I would, to my standards, well-produced videos where they're all nicely cut and my brother's holding the phone and all this kind of stuff. And I've postponed them. I've got them in the catalogue waiting to be sent in. But first, I went out the other day, filmed entirely on my own and just sort of held my phone. I daren't put it down on the ground and film because some wake will run off with it even at 6 a.m. But just holding the phone, walking along. I've left all the noise of the traffic in. I've not even stabilised it that much. It's a really grubby, down-to-earth video with me walking along, talking for 2 minutes. And it is what it is. But then you might get to the next video where I'm in a park and think, look at the contrast.
Exactly.
So
that's what it's all about. It's not... Ultimately, it's about the content, and is it entertaining? Will it arrest our attention? Everything else is stuff that you add later on.
So I just think Josephine, it was Josephine, wasn't it?
It was
Josephine's
Josephine.
video there was a perfect example of that, because, she walked into this lovely open space and I first thought, wow, what a nice park.
Yeah.
But then I noticed the view and it went on for miles and I just thought, I can never compete with that on an equal footing. So I have to find my strength, and
but you might
I'm going to show my brother that later.
Yeah, I mean, with down here,
my point.
Down here, a lot of people will have views of the Downs and all the rest of it, but they won't have the views of beautiful Georgian buildings or rows of Victorian terraces and ghastly modern gherkins and things like that on the skyline. But that's much to me. But you will. So that's where we get the variety. So go out and film it.
Well, I'm not going to keep you any longer. I hope you all have a great night, and I'll keep watching the show. So thank you very much, Richard, and thank you everyone who sends in videos.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. There we are, the lovely Ed Loud, calling loudly from Greenwich, which is good. And he's quite right. I think, we've got to take use of the things that are around us and make them into something. There's no point trying to be something else. Lovely Julia says, an hour or two of live streaming in front of the camera is hard enough. Masses of respect to Richard S. and Lee for managing it for 24. Absolutely. Jeff Kellerson says, I'd rather bunk up at 10 Downing Street. They have a wonderful cat I'd love to pet. I think actually, Jeff, you are allowed to take your truck into Downing Street and park it right in front of number 10. I think that's okay. Linda Kane says, oh, so they live above the stables. What are we talking about there? Jen's Allotment says, totally agree. I struggle with my little short gardening vids. They're not, they're lovely. They're very lovely. I've seen them. Tamara Carter says Greenwich is lovely. Yes, that's what I always thought. Very much enjoyed visiting the Baroque maritime buildings. Exactly. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, one of the finest Baroque interiors in Europa. You don't say more than that, because there was a full stop at the end. Mark Donny McLeod says, yep, know them, like carrying a boombox on your shoulder that weighed a ton. You don't carry the Greenwich buildings on your shoulder. He says, shuffling quickly to the video area. Wilf Meyer. Hello to you, Wilf. He has sent some wonderful nature for us to have a look at. And there's a lovely bird in this with very bushy eyebrows. Watch out for him. Thanks, Wilf.
Hi, Richard and viewers. Wilf here. Last year I built a bird feeder for my backyard, and it's been great fun watching all the goings on. So here's a clip, or some clips from a few days ago showing some young finches learning how to fend for themselves.
And there you go. Aren't they sweet? Aren't they lovely? I love the Dennis Healy. Who was it who said that? Oh, yeah, Michael Angel. Yeah, did remind me. They're so full of character. And it would be lovely to have a bird. I don't think, really, the only birds I get here are seagulls. And they're probably no such breed as seagulls, as I think I have read. They are gulls. And there are different types of gull. And I'm always corrected by people who like to correct other people when people get things wrong. Anyway, so, but that's probably the only birds that you get here. I know that Kevin is a great fan of robins, and he will do anything to go and photograph robins. I don't know how many robins he's photographed, but he must have annuals and annuals of pictures of robins in the little book. Because in the evening, poor old Kevin is there getting his pictures of robins and he's sticking them in his photo album. He prints them all out, and they do look nice, I readily confess, with Ready Breck. So thank you very much, Wilf. Much appreciated that. Another bit of wildlife, or tame life, I suppose, in the show. And I must get myself one of those long lenses. You've got a lovely long lens there. I was out the other day. I don't know if you've noticed in my recent video, I think it's the one today, I was in the Knepp estate down here where they do the rewilding. And as I walked back, somebody said, "Oh, are you here to see the storks? They've been here for 500 years and now they've been reintroduced." And I said, "Oh, that's interesting." He didn't actually talk like that, by the way. That was just me putting on a comedy voice. And I said, "Oh, that's interesting." I said, "Well, actually, I finished all my filming. I've got to get back and edit it and get it ready for the next day, which is today." Anyway, I didn't know anything about these storks. I gaily edited my video together and put it out this morning. And this chap very kindly got in touch with me and he said, "I've watched your video. It's very good." He said, "Did you know you'd filmed the storks?" I said, "I'm sorry? What? Pardon?" He said, "No, you filmed the storks." He said, if you've got shots of the church tower from a distance and the windmill from a distance, King's Mill at Shipley, and there are storks on them. They must have flown in and they're sitting on the top. Oh, I think one lands. I'm not quite sure now. I can't remember. I had to go back and have a look at my footage and went, well, I'm blowed. There they are. The storks were actually in my video and I didn't even know. He also sent me a couple of pictures of the storks, which was very kind of him. So, yeah, how exciting was that? That was lovely. So there we go. All good fun. Let's have a look, see what Fab Video says, the lovely Julia. Jeff says that they talk about that cat on the news all the time and show pictures of him with the reporters petting. Oh, do they? And now we go to number 10 and get the inside story with the patting cat. Hello, patting cat. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow. Do you remember that? I don't. Wilf says, "Thanks, everyone." What is the lens? I want to know how long that lens is. I would like to get a lens because sometimes, I've got a longish lens, which is great for, getting architecture and windows and things. But sometimes there's that mouse on a ledge, 250,000 feet above, and you just want to get its expression. We have a phone call, ladies and gentlemen. Let's find out who's ringing the Vobie one-eyed Kenobi. Hello, caller.
Good evening, Richard.
Good evening to you.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I thought I'd ring in now, because if you're finishing at 9 o'clock, with a bit of luck, we can keep Robert Croser off the phones.
Oh, right. Just so everybody, could you just introduce who you are? Because I have no idea who I'm talking to.
My name's Robert Croser.
Oh, Robert. Hello, Robert. Nice of you to call in from Cumberland.
Cumberland, yes. That rough and ready place up there.
Where the terrorists live.
Yeah. Everybody's recognised my voice straight away.
Oh, have they? Hello, Kevin. They say. Hello, Kevin. Hello, Kevin. How are you?
Oh, yeah, I'm cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, good. I had a lovely walk today.
Where did you go?
Well, I started off along the Beckton Road.
Where's that? That could be anywhere. We don't know where the Beckton Road is.
That's just leading off the 286, which goes from Midhurst to Chichester, and you have to turn off and it goes on to the Beckton Road. So it's in Midhurst.
Right. So, okay. We managed to sort of get a rough ballpark of where it is.
Yeah. So I walked along there. I've done that walk several times, but there's a public footpath sign on the left-hand side, and I kept thinking to myself, I will take that footpath one day, and I did today, and it was brilliant. I loved it. And I think there's one point where you can actually go to the right and it will take you then right through to Cocking and the South Downs.
Nice. And you can get up onto the top of the South Downs.
You can indeed, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Did you do that then?
No, I didn't do that today. I'm going to save that one for another walk, but I did nearly 6 miles today.
Okay.
But it took me all through these fields and back out just to the south of Midhurst, and then I cut across and then took another footpath out through there's a road called the Selham Road, so I took the Selham Road and then wove my way around and back into Midhurst.
Fantastic. You're a
It was
star.
lovely scenery. It was brilliant.
Quite hot out today, though, wasn't it?
It was very hot. Yeah.
And
when
you
I got home-
told me earlier that you have a walking hat. Some people have a walking companion, but you have a hat. And I just had visions of this walking hat going, come on.
on a lead.
Yeah, we're going this way. Come on, this way. Come on. No.
That's
stop.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
And can you describe I want to know what a walking hat is. I've never actually understood what they are.
Well, I've got two. One's a very, very wide-brimmed hat, and that really does protect you from the sun. It stops the sun getting on your face. And yes, you've just described it, and you're about right. Yeah. But then I've got a smaller one, and it's a bit of a floppy hat. So, but it was annoying me today when I was trying to do some filming. The front peak of it kept falling down over my eyes, so I flipped the thing right back. So yeah. Just to keep the sun off me.
You have to be careful about wearing hats when you're filming.
I know.
No, I'm being serious. I'm being serious.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely.
Because Dave Ford, you remember lovely Dave Ford? He asked for some crits when he started doing his film, and he wears this baseball hat, which personally I think is awful, but that's that's my opinion. But I said to him, move the brim up, because the shade from the sun is shading his eyes, but we can't see his eyes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the thing about any presenting to camera is you've got to be able to see the person's eyes, because the eyes are the windows to the soul, same old rubbish. But we look at people's eyes, and when you can't see them, it's I always have issues with reflections on my glasses, which is irritating. But I won't go back to contact lenses, because it was through contact lenses I lost my left eye. So I would never go back to contact lenses. So I have to wear glasses. So that's the only thing. People who wear those reactor-like glasses or sunglasses and insist on doing those videos, and I know Gabriel did do some. Again, I personally. And if I was talking professionally to somebody I was filming for, say, a TV thing or a corporate thing, I would, unless it's their style, and of course some people do like to wear sunglasses as their style, that's them, I would say get rid of them, because we want to see your eyes, because your eyes help us understand your face. And what with the combination of the two, we get to see. But, ordinarily we watch you without your glasses and we see how shifty you look.
I was going to say, you don't want to see that. Yeah, I'm a bit shifty. But
you do have that sort of, when you're going around, you do have that. You're looking left, you're looking right. Especially when you were talking about when you've sent in your videos and you're going, oh, there's 5 people. I've seen 5 people. There's another person over there, and you're looking dead shifty. It's very funny. It's you. It's not an insult. It's not meant as an insult. It's very funny.
Yeah, it's just that it's. And I still do it, even though today I did nearly 6 miles, and I didn't see a single person. And that was just a joy, because when I've said to you before, when I walk around Cowdrey Ruins on one particular Saturday morning, I must have seen 100 people.
Yeah, but that is a centre of attraction, isn't it? People are going to go.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But today I was wearing my sunglasses, but I took them off each time. I did have an issue when I got back home and I was putting the memory card into.
You couldn't remember the memory card.
I couldn't. No. And for some reason, it's not recorded anything. It had all the recording from the other day when I did a walk with Cynthia Walder, but there's nothing on there today, and I can't suss that out.
What were you?
Don't know why.
You were filming on your GoPro.
I was filming on my GoPro. I was using my Zoom audio recorder. And I checked to make sure that the volume thing was going up and down, but nothing.
On which one? On the GoPro or the Zoom?
I was doing the audio onto the Zoom.
Yeah, but which is the one that didn't have the stuff on?
The Zoom.
On the audio, okay.
Yeah. So I can't work that out.
And there's no files at all?
Not from today, no. Everything was just from the other day. Is there a limit to what a memory card can put on it?
Yes. Well, naturally there's a limit, but it's very unusual on a audio, because the audio files are incredibly, compared to video, small.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. But
mean,
there was not one on, nothing on there from today's walk at all.
Okay, so I've got the same recorder as you. It's a little box recorder, and it goes on your. It's about half the size. It's about that size. I'm just showing a picture on my. It's about that size, and it clips onto your belt.
Yes.
And in order to turn it on, you pull up. There's a sort of rocker switch that you have to pull up, or you slide
to switch it on.
To switch it on, and then it's got a red button to turn on.
Yeah.
There's two things I've done repeatedly. I've done this and kicked myself. I have pulled that thing up, looked down to see that the actual recorder was lit up.
Yeah.
In my mind, I've gone, oh, right, okay, I'm recording. Then I've turned on my GoPro or whatever camera I'm using, and I've recorded the piece, and I turn off the camera, and I go to turn off the sound and go, oh, I didn't record anything because I didn't actually press the red button. But the other thing you can do is that rocker switch or the turning on switch can be slid downwards and hold. Then no matter what other button you press, you could press the red button and it won't do anything because it's a protection thing. It protects it. So if you've accidentally slid that down if you've gone up and down.
Yeah.
So if you've slid that along and then back again with your finger, you can go into the hold position so that when you press the red button, it doesn't actually go on. So what I always do, I've learnt my lesson, is when I always look down at the counter and wait until it says not only 1 but 2, and I know it's rolling.
Right, okay. I might have caught it with my hand or something.
But it's, odd to do it on every one though.
Yeah, absolutely. It just didn't record on anything at all.
And the fact that you've got no file suggests that it wasn't. That's why I think it was on the hold that you didn't actually. It didn't even try to record because you would have had a file, even if the file was blank. You would have had a file that with a number on it.
Yeah, because I very religiously check that when I go to switch it on to start recording, I'm actually looking to see I'm pressing the red button.
Yes, check the counter. Check the counter because I've done. It's an easy mistake, but you just have to,
Yeah, but anyway, that's just a bit of a issue, but never mind. Hopefully the GoPro would have picked something up today because it wasn't very windy today. So.
Oh right, so because the GoPro's also got an inbuilt mic, so hopefully you've got
that's
enough
right,
there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
but you finally got your delivery today, then?
Yes, I've got my delivery. It's a lovely black jumper, as you can see.
I can see that. Yeah. It fits very nicely.
Yeah, people have said, "Is this inside out?" But this is not inside out. This is the right way around.
I think because on your left shoulder, they can see a seam, which comes across from the collar onto the shoulder.
Oh yeah.
And it's slightly pronounced. So whether they're thinking it's inside out that way.
No, because I've got here's the
tag. Yeah.
Here's the tag here.
Yeah. Oh, it's a large.
This one, it's a skinny fit. This one.
Yeah, that's it. It shows off all those lovely features you've got.
So I had this lovely red jumper that came through the post. Only it didn't come to my house.
No, it didn't, did it?
See, I live at a house with a number 9 on it, and the person who bought me this jumper, very very good friend of mine, knows exactly where I live. He's been here. He's made me walk the plank.
Absolutely.
He knows where I live, and he thought it'd be a nice idea. I'll help out the old Vobe. I'll buy him a jumper because he looks cold. So he bought me this jumper, this bloke. Nice chap, sort of elderly bloke with a beard and what have you. Hopeless on recording audio, apparently. Absolutely hopeless. Don't know why he bothers. Anyway, he bought me this thing. It turns out he's also hopeless at addressing as well. And instead of putting 9 on the envelope plus the road I live in, he put 1, which just so happens to be a pub. Which also happens to be shut at the moment and unlikely to open until, I don't know, July, sometime like that.
Yeah.
And so, but very kindly, when I said, nothing's arrived, Kevin, nothing has arrived, he did say, he said, oh, wait a minute, it's I've put the wrong address on it. And I went to the pub and I looked through their door because they've got a window and I could see there was something had delivered. So I wrote a note saying, any chance you could bring it round? But you rang them up, didn't you?
Well, I didn't ring them. I sent them a message by a Facebook Messenger, just hoping that someone would pick it up, which they did. I explained the situation to them, and they said, well, they're going to be at the pub today. They would find the parcel and drop it in through your door.
And they did.
And they did.
Could you just send them a message that a couple of kegs of beer was also inadvertently delivered there? Send them over.
Yeah. Well, I'll do my best, but I'm not sure whether they would actually go along with that or not.
No, they may not.
Probably not. No.
But yeah, it's a lovely jumper. Thank you very much.
Good.
I did model it earlier in the show.
I did see that. Yes. Yes.
Don't know what was going on there. Somebody thought there was a fashion parade going on.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
I've
yeah.
no idea.
No.
But lovely to talk to you, Kevin.
And you, Richard. Yeah. Take care.
All right, then I will.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Are you taking care?
No, I'm going to take good care of you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a show from an allotment, and we're raising money to look after our elderly neighbours, especially those in Midhurst. And
yes.
We're going to.
I need looking after.
Going to put them in a home.
Hey, hang on! I'm in a home. What are you on
You're
about?
in a home. We're going to lock the doors then.
Oh dear.
Lovely to talk to you, and thank you very much for the
Richard.
jumper.
You're very welcome, sir. Very welcome indeed.
Take
Bye-bye,
care.
everybody. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There we are, the inimitable Kevin Hall. He lives in a hall, actually. It's huge. It's his garden. That's why he was a bit upset about Cowdrey, because at Cowdrey Hall, that's where he lives. He doesn't like it when there's all these trespassers coming on to his property. It's outrageous, absolutely outrageous. But it was lovely to talk to him, and thank you very much, Kevin. Lots of lovely comments going in there. Richard's fashion show, that'll be an interesting show, says come walk with me. Not with my old clothes, it won't. Do you know, I can't get down to the charity shops anymore. I used to buy, I know they all find this a bit old, a hackneyed thing, but I do like to rummage around the old charity shops. You'd be amazed how many jackets and some nice shirts, actually, at a quarter of the price that you would buy them. I know that they say, oh, probably Dead Man has owned that, but they're not wearing them these days, and I could. Right, so let's have a look. We've done to Wilf. Let's go to Ernie. Ernie. Nice to see Ernie. He's been out and he's made us... Now, I thought this was his first film, but of course, as the lovely Julia reminded me, Ernie, tally-ho, old chap, on VE Day, he did get into his Spitfire and do a quick low fly past his house, you may recall. But this is a little bit longer, and he did say he was a bit nervous about sending this over and having it shown. But I think it's wonderful. He's very calm, a little bit quiet on the narration, but it's a lovely little journey around Epping Forest. Where is that Epping Forest? Well, Ernie will tell you exactly where it is and show us around. There's some very interesting features there.
And this is the beginning of our walk at Epping Forest. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be a lovely day. And here's a nice little stream going through the woods. Meandering through, heading towards the Queen Elizabeth Hunting Lodge. There it is. We're now approaching the Royal Hunting Lodge. down across the countryside. Sorry for facing in the sun. Into Epping Forest. And what a surprise! A lovely pond. With a mighty oak in the foreground. Must be very, very old. And look who's come to say hello. I think she's expecting me to feed her. Or him. And another mighty oak. God knows how old it is. Let's see if I can feel inside. Wow. And then straight onto the lake. Pond. Plenty of reeds. And a Brucey bonus here. Cows in Epping Forest. I never thought they would be here. We heard about them being in Epping Forest, but never in 14 years living on the edge of Epping Forest have seen them. Wonderful. And I come to the end of my walk with some large oak trees. And yeah, that's it. Bye.
How about that? Had everything, didn't it? Wasn't that great? That had everything in it, which was superb. As somebody said, it could have been Sussex. I think Mike said that, wasn't it? Could have been Sussex. We had beautiful scenery. Loved the view with the tree, going inside the tree, looking inside the hollow tree. And, of course, the wonderful tree hug at the end. And even had some cows or cattle. How amazing. That's really cool. Loved it. Thank you so much, Ernie. You'll have to do some more. You really must. So don't panic and worry about the narration. All of that comes. You just do it. You're in a friendly space. It's really cool. So there you go. Fantastic. Lovely part of the world. I was going to say I've never been to Epping Forest, but I have been into Epping Forest because when I used to do extra work, we filmed a couple of things in Epping Forest. One of them was a programme, I don't know whether you remember, it was a long time ago, called Wish Me Luck. And it was a wartime thing. And I kept playing soldiers. And there was a sequence in Epping Forest where we were supposed to be in a forest somewhere in Germany. And we were all given, we were Tommies over in Germany. We were all supposed to be the English going over there fighting the Nazis. And we were given the, is it the Bren gun? Not the Bren gun, was it the Sten gun, was it? I can't remember. The one that you hold like this. You've got an arm this side and you've got one this side, and you go like that. And we were all running in this group, and that we've got these guns all full of blanks, and the director wanted us to come running through the forest, through the trees. There were a number of scenes. We're storching them all out. Sten gun. There we go. Thank you, Sten gun. And he said at one point when he drops his hand down like this behind the camera, we're all supposed to be firing at Germans. Well, everybody fired, but there were people behind, in this group, there were people behind the people in front, and they were going like this as well. And we all had blanks, obviously. If they had been live rounds, they would have just dropped, they would have just killed the people at the front. And I did think, this is silly. Isn't this a bit silly? Obviously, I couldn't see through the lens of the camera to see how it looked there. But I'm sure when it came out, people would have just written in and said, well, you're just killing your own service. That's ridiculous. So there we are. Anyway, lots of people like that. He's such a lovely video, says Kevin. Well done. Nothing wrong with that. Well narrated. You remind me of Mr. Bean. Not quite sure what that's about. Didn't say you had one foot in the grave. No, I was never in One Foot in the Grave, but I was in Waiting for God. I was an ambulance man in Waiting for God. And actually, I got a credit for that. If you look up on is it IMBA or something, on wherever you look up TV credits and put in Waiting for God, you'll see I'm credited as the ambulance man. I had a Cat 1 contract for that. I can't even remember what I said now. I only had like 3 or 4 lines. I can't remember. And I think they edited most of those out. And I think most of it was shot in the distance. So, blink. I wouldn't bother looking up. Anyone know which episode? Wish Me Luck was... I was in a number of those. And my biggest claim to fame was when it was being put on the telly, like they do the little trailers for these things. There was a sequence where we're stalking through the woods and they did a big close-up like that much of me going through the trees for about 10 seconds, and they used that repeatedly in the trailers. And it was amazing how, it was on ITV, and I remember, watching something else and they'd be going, tonight on ITV, Wish Me Luck, where such and such and such and such, and then it would keep cutting to this shot of me with this Sten gun, like Corporal Jones going through, like in Dad's Army. It was great fun, as if by magic. Mr. Ben, oh yes, Mr. Ben, not Mr. Bean, Mr. Ben. There we go, as if by magic. That was a. We did that, Mr. Ben, on the thing, didn't we? We had to try and find the theme. I remember it's in there now. I can remember it. Yes, marvellous. Sorry. How are you doing on the time? 18 minutes past. Well, 18 minutes past. Oh, hang on. What's that going? I'm trying to press button there and it's not working. Hang on. I'll just see if I can get out of... Oh, yeah. Do that. Come out of there. Do that. We've got 18 minutes and we still have one more video. Can anyone guess who it's by? One more video. We have a regular video that we often have sent in from sometimes overseas. Who could it possibly be? Where is it coming from? Beautiful rendition of the theme tune. Yeah, I loved Mr. Ben. That was great. Is Vobes falling to bits, or is this an ancient T-shirt? Says Nigel Sadler. He is falling to bits. Yes, this is an ancient T-shirt. Actually, this is from 2000. This is from 2005. This one is this side. Yeah, it's got a big rip in it. 2005. The Andrew Norris moment. Correct. Well done, that man. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it is my proud job to introduce once again, with the importance of stones, the Andrew Norris moment.
Hello Vobes, I'm back in the village and I want to show you a stone. In fact, this stone. Now you're probably thinking, what has that stone got to do with anything? Well, I tell you, to the people in this village, this stone is more important than Stonehenge, because this stone marks a boundary, a border between fields. Now I did one time make the mistake of encroaching on our neighbour's field. Now Mika, who owns this land, he wasn't bothered with his mother, did point out that I should be careful where I cut. So I'm being very careful. And here is another very important stone. This one here. This stone marks the border between us and the neighbour. So I need to cut the grass on this side and leave it on that side. Here we have precision strimming. There's the stone and there's the line. But of all the stones in the village, this is my favourite. And when I sit here, this beautiful stone takes the shape of my back. And when I'm sitting here having a barbecue, and then Zora and I, we watch the barbecue, keep an eye on it, and it's very nice.
Those stones are so tiny. I am so surprised. When I watch this, because I watch these things before they go out, when I watched this, I thought, but they're just so tiny. You would have thought, like a great big stone would have been a bit better. Like the ones you were leaning against would have been better markers than tiny, tiny little flints that just could have been in, because anybody could have, if you think, just think how easy it would have been to move boundaries and go, oh, we've got this new fella coming into the house over there. We'll just shift our stones a bit over there into his garden a bit more. We can have a bit more garden. Yeah, sorry, that's your boundary. But it just goes pretty much around the house. Yes, I didn't have much of a garden, to be honest with you. But remember the boundary stones. Oh, you mustn't go past the boundary stones. In fact, if we move them that way, you can get off our land altogether. It is outrageous that... yes, it's that's the way it is. A stone's throw away. Yes, amazing large stone. Yeah, love the large stones, but the tiny stones, just tiny little stones. So there we are. Wonderful and informative, which is what Ed Loud says. I reckon the Vobes is Mr. Ben. Tonight, says Turbo Stream. How wonderful the placement markers of the boundaries, but they're just so tiny. I mean, even a fence post, a post with a nice bit of old oak in there would have lasted 100 years, wouldn't it? And you could replace that. I just don't understand. My brain does not compute. My brain does not compute. But anyway, that's the way it is. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. We've got 7 minutes, so I'm going to let, if anybody wants to call in and just have a stone's throw of a conversation. Richard, if you were to move one of those stones, everyone would know about it. How could they know? How could they? I mean, over a year, you could just slowly increase your garden, couldn't you? Boundary stones by the people who gave Stonehenge Spinal Tap. Right. Sussex Wanderer, hello all. Hello to Sussex Wanderer. Thank you for joining us right at the end of the show. But you are welcome to give us a phone call before we go. 07934746790 is the number. We still have stones marking the boundary at my work. We do have a phone call to see us through the last few minutes of the show. Let's find out who it is. Hello to you.
Hello to you too.
Hello to you too. I mean, hello to you both.
That makes 4. Good evening. It's Gabriel.
Hello, Gabriel. How the devil are you, young man?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you for your wonderful films about the mill streams.
Thank you.
Well,
yes, that's on
Millstream.
YouTube now. It's a 2-parter.
Oh, is it? Oh, there we are. We
Yeah.
can go back and look at it as 1 or 2 nice documentary. Well done. No, thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yes. I've started on the next one.
Oh, good.
Glastonbury, as you know probably, is forms of a square. That square is the Abbey. One side of that square is the High Street, and that's kind of the layout. In 2000, they set up a self-conducted walk with like little plaques around the place showing points of interest. So I figured I'd go around and film that.
Sounds like a good idea.
Well, it seemed churlish not to, really. They've gone to the effort of putting these things in the wall and in the pavement. The least I can do is go around and film it.
Absolutely. Well, and then also, it's useful because I know we've had. What was the young lady's name from Lisa from Leeds? I think it was, who watched our Glastonbury visit and had said, watching the video was really useful to see what it was like, and off they went. So again, what you're doing, I think, is fantastic for the tourism. And by golly, after this, you're going to need it, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, you want to come because of it.
Well, exactly. I want to come to meet you.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Because I've got a similar jacket to yours. It's not.
Have you?
Not quite the same. I'm just putting it on now.
Okay. It's been a show of many jackets. This one, hasn't it?
It has.
Many tops.
It's a bit big for me. I need to get one that's a little bit more tailored.
Yeah.
I obviously had a few
there
muscles.
it's just coming in. Oh, that's rather excellent. Yes, I like that.
It is a bit over the top. It doesn't go with this shirt at all.
I like that. That's a good jacket. That's a very good jacket.
A friend, I went shopping years ago with a friend who was female, and but there was no hanky panky or anything. It was just because I said I hate going shopping, and she took me to a shop and she said, "Oh, this is very you," and she bought it for me. No, sorry, she didn't buy it for me. I bought it. And then she said, "I've got a party on tomorrow night. Why don't you come over? I've got having a soiree at a pub." And I said, "Oh, right, okay." So I went wearing this jacket, thinking it was the trendy thing to do.
Yeah.
Biggest mistake of my life. Everybody was just in ordinary. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to get rid of this jacket. So then I started to use it for performance purposes. And when I was entertaining, it went down very well. But to walk around the town, I think you've got to be pretty loud to carry it off.
I think that has. I'm sure Jeff would agree with me. It has a certain style. I mean, I put that jacket on because I just grabbed it. It was the first one by the door when I went out, and a couple of people commented on it.
It works well. I think it works well with you because you've got a certain style that carries it off with your back to front hat and your glasses, and you've got that's very you. I can see that that's you. It's This used to be me when I was. Hi, hello, mate. Oh, how you doing? Welcome, mate. Some juggling, and unicycling, and when I was mad. You think I'm mad now? I was madder in my earlier years.
But professionally mad, I guess.
But I would, once I'm off, once they stopped paying me, I was normal again.
Yes. It costs money to be mad,
Yes, absolutely. Oh, my goodness. Yes, that's it. It was the Michael Caine thing.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Michael Caine apparently was at a party and they asked him to do some acting. And he said, I'll certainly do. I've got £1 million. And they said, pardon? And they said, well, you don't ask a plumber to come in and do some plumbing, do you? For free? Just go on, do us a bit of plumbing. That'd be interesting. Go on, do some... And apparently I don't know how true that is.
That's a good point, that. Yes. Well, anyway, I'll let you get off. I just wanted to ring in and say hello, really.
Oh, right. Oh, that was it. Sorry, I thought there was some great thing coming. But how is Glastonbury? Is that now that people are out and about, is there some sort of return? Is there? I mean,
not really see it. I mean, the roads seem busy. Yeah, the shops are all still shut.
There's no reason.
I went round today and there was like hardly anything open. I mean, you've got the co-op.
Yeah.
Halfway up the high street. That's it, really. That's it.
Yeah, that's a shame, isn't it? Because you need a reason for people to come. But I would thought that there might be, I suppose, all the local people, and by local I mean 20, 30 miles around, who want a bit of a day out. They've all seen Glastonbury, but I think they'd be keen to get out, just to get out of walking round the streets near them. People in Wales.
Yeah, maybe you think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah. It will happen.
I don't know.
It'll happen.
It will happen when it happens, I guess. Yes.
Cool. All right. Well,
if I don't have this video in for tomorrow night, I do apologise. I've got several. I'm playing with all my cameras at the moment, so
What's your favourite? What is your current favourite, apart from the action one that you bought recently. What are your favourite camera that you use or like?
Well, I do like the 360.
Yeah.
Yes, the
But
one
you're
I've got for
selling it.
sale. Yeah, I'm selling it because I'm upgrading, basically,
Oh,
because I
okay.
like using it so much. The the Insta 360 X that I use is probably one of the best handheld 360 cameras out there. It's got a stabilization on it that is second to none, and it's fantastic. But they do it now, and it looks less like a Ricoh Theta and more like a GoPro.
Ah, yeah, I know the one you mean.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's in modular. So at the moment, I'm carrying multiple cameras around. I could carry one camera that would do the GoPro work and do the 360 work, and I'm carrying one camera.
Yeah, but
And
I mean, when you say you're carrying cameras around, I mean, they are pocket size. I've gone back to, in this series that I'm doing at the moment, bigger tripod, a DSLR, load of lenses, and a prop bag, and I'm carting all this clobber out. The quality is lovely, but I am
yes,
knackered when I get back, having
Yeah.
left early and come back, then edited it, because it's a lot more complicated than just footage on a GoPro.
Well, as I've been making these films for you, I've been developing my kit, my rig, if you like, and I'm constantly changing it. And
Yeah.
the thing is getting it so that it is compact and carryable. I don't want, because I've got drones and loads of other heavy things that I can carry around. I like the idea of being light and mobile. So if I can do as much as I can,
Yes.
it's like this one I'm doing now. I've been out today with a 360 doing some weird and wacky shots and some time-lapse stuff for B-roll. I've done that as a separate job. If I'd have been out doing the rest of the thing with the camera, I could have just dropped the 360 element in and done that while I was out.
Mm.
So again, it just makes life a little bit easier. It's the same camera, basically. It's just more modular and more useful.
Yeah,
But that's
well,
generally reason.
I'm looking forward to the results.
Yes. I've been out playing with it today, and it's quite funky. I love some of the effects you can get because you do all that in post production.
Yes. Oh, yes. And I know that Cheryl Craggs she got one of these 360s, and what she was doing was stunning, just absolutely stunning. Right.
Because I do work as a photographer, and I do 360s with a DSLR on a tripod and a 360 panorama head.
Right. Okay.
Estate agent work, that the high resolution multi-gigapixel pictures. I do that as well. So having this little portable camera is just like, oh, I like this.
Yeah, that's so much easier, isn't it? Less to carry.
Yeah.
Good to talk to you. Then. Take care.
Talk soon.
Bye bye for now.
Bye
bye. There we are. The lovely Gabriel. Sorry, I was unable to stop the call then. Yeah, good. Marvellous. Well, let's have a quick look at the things before we go. John Winthorpe. Hello, John Winthorpe. He says they are trying to make everyone wear masks. Yeah, I was thinking of going out wearing a mask, actually. One of these masquerade masks, to the masquerade ball. One of those masks that covers your eyes but keeps your nose and mouth thing. And I thought, if anyone says, yeah, you're not wearing a mask, I say, yeah, I'll wear one of those. Wherever they go. What else did he say? Many people are ignoring it. In Indiana, no one has to wear them. Everything is open as normal. I get knackered, says Mark Selwood, lugging filming clobber around adds to my sweaty back. Yes, I don't like having to carry the stuff, but well, this is a conversation for another day, really. But for me, the end product is what's the important thing. Ringer Ollie says, evening, Richard. Good evening to you, Ringer Ollie. John Winthorpe, I was thinking of going to the bank in a ski mask and seeing what they said. Yeah, good luck with that one. We'll all visit you. Michael Angel says they would think you're a member of the Illuminati wearing one of those masks. Yes, of course. Hello. I've got my masquerade mask on, especially with a jacket like this. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for turning up and popping over to see the old Vobie tonight. It's been a nice little party. Thank you for sending me your videos. We've enjoyed them. And if you wish to give it a whirl yourselves, please do. You see how easy it is. You only need a phone. You don't have to go completely bonkers with anything. Start with a phone, work your way up. Just film it that way rather than that way. Instructions on how to send it to the Vobes is in the description on YouTube, so easy to do it. Send it to my email address via WeTransfer. But that's it for tonight. I'll be back again tomorrow at 8 o'clock. There'll be another video in the morning, if you want, on the Bald Explorer channel. And I'll be doing a live reading at 4 o'clock on the Bald Explorer channel, continuing with I Saw Two Englands by H.V. Morton. We had great fun learning about Thomas à Becket and how he was murdered. I did go a little bit over the top with that reading. Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, look after yourselves, and bye-bye for now. Bye-bye! Bye-bye! Now, maybe I can get into some proper, decent clothes at last. Now, where did I put my stockings and suspenders?